All right, we do everything again. We just keep repeating our process. First thing we do is we square off the top rail for our block. I'm going to start my nails on the inside. Getting ready. Now I angle them obviously a little bit because they're going to line up with this block. This block is going to line up with this block, and so I have to angle them a little bit so once they pass through the top rail here, they're going to go inside of my block. Then I will hold my finger on top of the block and tighten that up, twist it just where I want it. Make sure everything's tight. Give everything a whack or two, make sure everything's tight. And I'll do the same thing on the other side. We'll set our center block, our ridge block, and our far side block, and we'll put up our next truss. It's always a good idea to check your blocks, make sure that they're all the same length. The pre-cut blocks are usually, like I said, 22 and a half, almost, 22 and 7/16. And you might have a few blocks laying around on the job site that look about right. So make sure that you clean up your job site first so you don't mix up a short block with a long block or a long block with a short block or something like that. You just want to use the pre-cut blocks that came with the trusses. Again, don't be shy about knocking the blocks around. If they're tilted a little bit, give them a whack. I mean, they don't own you, you own them. You're the alpha hammer. You want to make sure they are where you want them to be and nice and tight. All right, Mark, let's put up another truss. One thing that you may be wondering is why I'm standing on top of this ladder. This ladder is specifically made where it has a big base, it's very sturdy, it's a heavy gauge, it's industrial strength, and that this top part is okay to stand on. Most ladders will have big things stating that you do not want to step on this and use it as a step. But this ladder has an aluminum top. It's nice and sturdy, and it's made to be a platform. Again, we're giving it a few whacks. The block nailed in, so I'll come back and do my second toenail. One thing is worthy of mentioning is that when you're doing rafters, you probably will end up putting in 2 nails on one side and 1 nail on the other. Since trusses are much more stable and are built structurally, a couple nails into the plate like that and a couple nails into the block, they hold very well. In some areas, they'll require something that's called hurricane ties. It's a product that's put out. It's a piece of hardware that slides up on the inside of the wall and clips to the truss. And they use it in the South to keep the roofs down on the houses. Some inspectors will like to see those regardless on trusses just for the added strength to hold the trusses in place. And it's purely for wind shear and areas where you might have a storm, or in some cases they like it strictly for earthquakes as well, just to have a stronger structure to withstand shaking. sounds. No, I can't. I'm not superhuman. I can't reach that far. I'm putting it where it was before you moved it. All right, well, it's getting dark, but you get the idea. We've been doing the same thing kind of repetitively here, making sure everything's nice and tight. As long as you do that, you're going to have a really good product. Just keep working steadily at keeping everything nice and tight again. Boom, boom, boom. Whack everything a few times. Make sure it's tight and check as you go. That's the only best information I can give you. You'll come out with a really nice product, and we'll probably have a few more trusses to go tomorrow morning. It should go fairly quick, but we'll get to it and finish this up. Our next step will be putting on outriggers on the outside to put barge rafters out off the edge of this structure, and then we'll come back and we'll sheet the roof.
Now, if you notice, Gus and I are working. You know,
See,
I keep calling this guy Gus, but I know his name's Buzz. As you notice, Buzz and I are working together on this. We're not each taking a side and going down like Jack and I were. And ultimately, this is better for, I think, for me and for Buzz, and probably for you, because Jack's been doing this for a long, long time, and he feels much more comfortable, you know, being doing multitask with dexterity. Thank you very much. And if you're not at all comfortable, not too comfortable doing it that way, because what'll happen is, as you're hitting in the nails into your block's going to move. And when you come to hit it back, there's a good chance it's going to shift on you. It's not going to be where you thought it was going to be, and you're going to have to pop it out and do it all over again. This way, if I have Buzz holding it for me, I'm pretty sure it's going to stay where it needs to stay. I'll hit it in, take it back, and as you notice, this is right where we want it to be. We've been doing this the whole way down, and ultimately this is going to save a lot of time for you, and it will save a lot of time for us. Buzz, we are done.
We are done.
You know, Jack left us with a little bit of work to do. We got a nice straight line on the ridge. Everything's in solid. We're ready to take the next step. Next step is we need to put a 2x4 notch in a couple spots on this truss and the truss at the end. We're going to bring a 2x4 outlooker coming from nailing into this truss all the way out so it comes over a foot, so we have a bit of an overhang, like Jack was talking about, over the gabled area. Once we get that in, we're going to put in the barge rafters, which are kind of the fascia that go across the front of this area. We're going to put fascia down at the bottom of the tails, and then we'll be ready to sheet the roof finally, because we got some rain coming. One thing we want to definitely say, no matter how you do it, if you do it like Jack does it as a single person up here, or like Buzz and I have done it as a team, you want to make sure you stick to the same method. This is the kind of thing where if you forget something along the way, it could have a domino effect on you later on down the road. You could forget to toenail something, you could forget to put a block in somewhere, and as you're going to nail something, it could break on you as you're doing the construction, or worse, you get the finish work in and something happens, you've got to go in and play not only MacGyver, you got to play doctor and really come in and fix it. So the thing to remember is, however it works for you, be very methodical about it. Like we did with these trusses. We put the truss in place. We nail up onto the ridge block. We'd set it where it needs to be, nudge it up against where the block is, toenail it down to the top plate, make sure it was sucked up right against the block, get the block where it needed to be, nail the block in, put the next block in, nailing it from behind, and just keep going that way. It'll be, if you do it with somebody, it's a lot faster. We recommend do not try to do trusses by yourself. The likelihood of you getting hurt is very high. Granted, there are a lot of contractors and carpenters you're going to see out there doing this by yourself, but you're not professional, and I even think those guys are crazy for doing it. So remember, stick to your method and do it with at least one other person. 2 people's even better, like Jack said. So when you finish this phase, come back and watch the next set of videos on how to do the outlookers, barge rafters, fascia, and ultimately the roof sheeting.
Home Improvement Camp. Have at it.